Welcome to The Struggling Artist, where I'm struggling so you don't have to. And today I will be trying to draw foreshortening poses. For those of you who don't know, foreshortening is an important part of learning perspective. It's seen most often in character art, as a part of the character's body, like the arms, legs, or head, are closer to the viewer than the rest of the body, creating this very intense and dynamic pose. These types of foreshortening poses are notoriously difficult to draw, as it's known to be one of the most challenging aspects of perspective and understanding human proportions. Which is why it is something I am far from good at, so I thought this video would be the perfect opportunity to practice it. I've picked out a few references from good old Pinterest that I'll be using to practice. After practicing a few poses, I'm going to challenge myself by illustrating a full image with a dynamic foreshortening pose. We get started by loading a couple reference images into Clip Studio Paint. I pick the first image, lower the opacity, and practice by looking at where on the canvas the most important parts of the body will be by using rounded shapes for the head, hands, torso, and feet. Based on that quick study, I will copy the shapes that I made on the image right next to it and start building the drawing from there. I found this to be the easiest way to figure out the general placement of a pose and make it easier to get the proportions right. Of course, there's not one correct way to practice poses, and as I'm still learning the fundamentals, I might change this technique as I improve, but so far it's worked in my favor as far as digital art goes. In order to understand proportions best, you have to practice a lot. It's not like this little trick will magically make you good at drawing proportions or poses in general. Trust me, I would use it all the time if it was. But especially if you sometimes get a little lost in the reference image, doing this method can be very helpful. As long as you make sure to keep these shapes at a minimum, because completely tracing over a reference image doesn't teach you much, and posting a drawing of a pose you copied without being upfront about it is wrong, so don't do that. Anyways, once I made 5 quick studies that I was decently satisfied with, I moved on to picking a reference image for my final illustration. I thought this image was pretty cool, and I wanted to draw one of my OCs, Emily. Emily is one of the main characters of my upcoming webcomic Prototype Heroes. She's an android with the power to teleport to any location she can picture in her mind, so I thought I would draw her as she teleported towards us. In the end, the illustration turned out better than I expected. The pose turned out decently accurate, and the proportions don't feel very weird. Though, I do see that I haven't quite mastered dynamic poses, and especially during the practice phase, I realized I should probably practice these types of foreshortening poses more often to get more comfortable with them. If you like drawing, I highly recommend trying this type of pose for yourself. It's a really fun exercise, and it's also a great way to practice proportions. If you do end up drawing something after this video, tag me if you post it. I'd love to see you guys' creations. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this type of content, feel free to leave it a like. I'll probably make more struggling artist content in the future, so if you have an idea for it, you can leave it in the comments below. See you next time!